Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this regular City Council meeting to order for March 18th, 2024. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Dennehy.
Here.
Councilmember Maloney.
Here.
Councilmember Schmisher.
Here.
Councilmember Stein.
Here.
Councilmember Tracy.
Here.
Councilmember Worthington.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Here.
Mayor Troutman, absent.
Thank you. And is Bradley Buck here this evening?
I made it. All right. Hi, folks. Thank you for the privilege. Father, I'm thankful tonight that Canyon City is on your map and that you are concerned about what's going on in our small city. And I want to pray, as Jesus taught us, that your name will be honored here, that your kingdom will come, and that your will be done in our town. Thank you for these folks who have offered to serve our community. I pray on their behalf for wisdom, your wisdom to guide them in their decisions. May we all benefit from their decisions and from their counsel. We value them, and we ask your blessing on them so that they will be able to serve us and to serve you well for the honor of your name and for the well-being of all of the citizens of our city that we love. Amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do set aside time at the beginning of each council meeting for citizens who would like to speak to council on items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone who would like to speak? I don't have a slip up here indicating that, but seeing nobody, we'll move on. And do we have council members who would like to make an announcement?
I do.
Tim.
I would just like to put out a little shout out to Black Hills Energy. This weekend was this last week was a big storm. There was a lot of outages. There was trees down everywhere. I saw their crews out working late when it's cold, and the one thing that we always got to remember when we see those crews is they're away from their families as well. And I know some people were out for a few days. I was out for 10 hours, but you know what? I think everybody pulled through this okay. We did lose a lot of trees in town, but I just want to give kudos to Black Hills Energy. I think they did a fantastic job.
Thank you for that. And I would like to remind everybody that Veterans Park is closed due to multiple branches being in a dangerous location there with soft ground, unable to get in with machinery to address it. To protect public safety, the park is closed. Amy.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I wanted to let Council know that StarPoint is seeking congressionally directed funding to expand care for children with intellectual and developmental disabilities in our community. They've requested a letter of support from the city to show that they're supported and the essential services that they provide here. Given the timing of when they've need it, and given that they aren't asking for anything other than a letter of support, City Administrator Stevens has kindly noted that he could sign it. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily.
Thanks. A couple of things. The Lincoln Park Cotter Community Advisory Group monthly meeting is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Public meeting, room 147B at the PCC Fremont campus. The meeting is also on Zoom. We will have updates from the EPA and from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. I wanted to say a little bit more to add to what Tim said. Certainly, all of us have great appreciation to Black Hills to the crews who've been working for days to restore power to a widespread area that includes not only Canyon City, but also parts of Florence, Penrose, and Cripple Creek, and areas outside of our city limits, such as the Garden Park area and northwest of our city. We do have, I think, at least I do, have a number of questions that, we'll look forward to talking more with the company about these. Don't need the answers now, of course, but why was the outage so widespread and so scattered? That is, that so many different areas on all sides of Canyon City were affected. Why were some of these outages so long-lasting? For example, at least some people in the Garden Park area had an outage from Thursday morning until early this morning. We understand the nature of the storm, which was heavy, wet snow and ice, but not blizzard conditions. But why were the power failures so widespread? Were there any patterns that the company found in the types of equipment that failed? How many customers who rely on powered medical equipment at home had to be assisted by Black Hills? And we understand something really important, and that is that Black Hills in recent years has done work to increase the reliability of their system in our area. So I'm hoping that we'll learn more about why those efforts did not minimize or reduce the impacts. We understand from the newspaper that at one point there were 19,000 customers without power. There's a phrase in the March 15th Black Hills press release that was a little unclear to some of us. I won't read the whole thing, but it referenced Cripple Creek and Canyon City in the same sentence as being mountain communities, and that the 5 feet of snow in the mountains were part of the issues with trying to get to places to fix the equipment. And of course, we know that within the city limits, we're not really a mountain community here. We look forward to learning with Black Hills what the lessons learned are from this storm event. With changes to our climate, there will be more storms like this one. What changes need to be made to the transmission and distribution system to prevent such widespread, lengthy, and expensive outages in the future? In general, our infrastructure must be much more resilient in order to provide the service our community needs. So we look forward to those discussions with Black Hills.
Thank you. And I would say, just to generalize a little bit, this has actually been an opportunity for the city, this city, other cities in the county, affected counties, to look at their emergency response systems and see what shape we're in, if we're set up to handle emergencies like this, which might be somewhat foreseeable, given weather changes. So that'll be something that conversation that'll occur at several different levels. And that is certainly, the Black Hills level is certainly one level we need to have a conversation on. We do have a vision committee Wednesday at 5 p.m. in this chamber. We're going to be talking about a noise ordinance, and it's exploring what we have, what we might have, what may be appropriate, and what are citizens' concerns. So we look forward to having a lot of people there with us on Wednesday night. And now we move on to, let's see, I think that we had better get approval of the agenda. Not yet? We're going to do council member announcements first.
Employee recognitions.
Thank you. I'll get it right here. It's right here in black and white and red. All right, so we're going to move to recognitions and proclamations, and we have some employee recognitions.
Yes, sir, and I'll call Human Resources Director Butch Batchelder up to do those recognitions.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city administrator, city attorney, city clerk. It's that time of the month again where I get to come before you and we have the opportunity to recognize some of our employees who are realizing a milestone in their employment with the city. This evening we have 2 individuals being recognized. The first one is Timothy Smelser, With a 10-year recognition, Officer Smeltzer was hired as a police officer by the Canyon City Police Department on March 31st, 2014. On November 5th, 2018, Officer Smeltzer was transferred to the investigation unit as a detective. Then on June 10th, 2023, Detective Smeltzer was promoted to Detective Sergeant and assumed supervision of the CCPD Investigations Unit. And I believe we have someone here from command staff to say a few words about Sergeant Smeltzer.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of council. I've had the pleasure of working with Tim since he first started here. In fact, I was his lead FTO, field training officer, when he first started. And it does my heart good to see how far he's come with this agency and in his career in general. Frankly, the investigations unit wouldn't be as successful as it is if it weren't for Tim. Tim's leadership with that unit and his experience that he has developed over the years, but also the training that he has made good use of has just made him blossom in this career. Tim is hands down the best interviewer that we have in our agency. He's able to talk to people. I like to refer to him as the silver-tongued devil, but he's a valuable member of our department, and we're really happy to have him here and have this recognition for him.
All right, and the other recognition is for 15 years of service. Unfortunately, this one was a little late coming because the employee wasn't available until this month for us to recognize him, and that's Brian Trindle. Brian was hired as a facilities maintenance worker utilities on November 24th, 2008, a position he has held for his whole career with the city of Canyon City. Travis?
So a common compliment we get when people do come up and take tours of the water treatment plant is how clean the facility is. And I think it's really a great testament to the work that Brian does for us. Through his 15 years, I mean, his attention to detail has been just really great, and we never have to worry about what he's doing, or the plant always just looks like it's in fantastic shape. So we really could not be more appreciative of the 15 years that he's put in with the water department. Thank you.
And has become our custom, if I could get council members to step down in front of the dais, we will get the two employees that were recognized this evening up there.
My right knee likes to give me.
And now, Mr. City Administrator, would you review the agenda and consent agenda?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick and members of council. Item 8A is to approve the minutes for the regular city council meeting on March 4th, the general government meeting on March 6th, and the special meeting on February 8th, special meetings on February 8th, which are pool, feasibility, and the water committee. 8B authorizes the city administrator to sign a funding agreement for the Humane Society of Fremont County for 2024. 8C extends bid 26-22 for lawn maintenance. 8D extends bid 8-26, annual purchase of fluoride. 8E awards bid 3424, annual 8102 purchase of Nelco for an amount not to exceed $60,000. 8F awards bid 3624, traffic paint and reflective glass beads to the Colorado Paint Company for an amount not to exceed $13,000. 8G is to receive and file a monthly budget summary for January, and 8H is to receive and file cash disbursements and P-card disbursements.
Thank you. Any discussion or comments? Emily?
Thanks. I'm just ready to make a motion whenever you're ready for that.
Oh, okay. Looks like we do have a couple of people who would like to say some things. Amy?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. City Administrator Stevens, I had noted via email that we may want to amend the language of the Humane Society standard contract to fix the typos that we fixed in the previous standardized agreements. I'm not sure if we need to amend that specifically tonight, or
No,
you've done.
we'll take care of them administratively as typographical errors.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy?
Yes, I just had a question on the Humane Society on the scope of funding. It says that a lump sum amount, and then it proceeds in the next sentence to say that payment of such compensation shall be made in equal monthly installments. I always think of a lump sum as one payment, so I didn't know if that needed to maybe just be clarified just a bit.
It should be monthly payments, and we can clarify that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Any further discussion? Then I'm open to a motion. Emily?
All right, thanks. I'll move for approval of the agenda and consent agenda.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye. And now we move, that's the end of our consent agenda, and we move to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick. You have the written report. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's happened since the written report was submitted. Want to give a big shout out to our streets, parks, water departments, our public works staff for all the hard work that they put in during the storm, and there's a lot of hard work left in front of them. Our crews shifted to 12-hour shifts, working 24 hours a day in order to keep the streets plowed and cleared, and addressing the downed tree limbs and all that goes along with a big storm event like this. As Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick mentioned, Veterans Park is closed currently due to hanging tree limbs. It will be closed until the ground hardens up enough for us to get equipment in there and take care of those issues. We're evaluating the other parks right now. The cemetery also has quite a bit of tree damage as well, so lots of cleanup going on probably into the next several weeks. We're currently evaluating a storm pickup program and as soon as cleanup program, so as soon as we have that information, we'll be putting that out through our social media channels. Let's see here. Also, kudos to Denise. Even though the city offices were closed, she was still manning the city phones on Thursday and Friday, helping to direct complaints or concerns about streets and down branches to the appropriate departments. New Method Laundry, we had a staff meeting today to talk about the proposals that we received. Public Works Director Leo Evans is going to be reaching out to our two low bidders to start discussions with them and evaluating their proposals and asking questions about those two proposals. And depending on how those conversations go, may move on to the other bidders. One of the biggest concerns that we had with the storm event coming in was the heavy snow load and that particular building. Our building official and city engineer, Leo Evans, went into the building today to do an evaluation. It is in very rough shape after the storm. Recommended to come down as soon as possible. We are seeking additional funds, emergency funds from the states. We think after discussing with our Department of Local Affairs regional representative, she thinks that this would be a very good project for emergency funds, would be eligible. We're currently working out all the details and got the information today for what they're going to require. It would require matching our multi-purpose grants with those dollars and exhausting those funds, which is something that we were intending to do anyway. So we're going to continue to go down this route, and hopefully we'll have funding soon in order to move forward with this project and bring it to City Council for approval. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions about the written report.
Councilmember Schmischer.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick. I just wanted to follow up on the new method laundry and the concerns raised by the, or not concerns, but the request raised by the Historic Preservation Commission to be able to see what it looks like without the stucco facade and see whether or not that might be worth saving. Will those considerations be reflected in your conversations that you're planning to have with the low bidders in terms of what that would cost in timeline and whether that's feasible with regard to how they're planning to demolish the rest of the structure?
Yes, those discussions will be part of those discussions with the low bidders. Mike Madone, one of our Historic Preservation Commission members, was part of our staff meeting earlier today, so he was part of those conversations as well.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I do have a follow-up question on the new method laundry. Based on the inspection that was conducted, are there any interim emergency steps that need to be taken to prevent damage to nearby the adjacent properties?
It appears that water's already being pumped out of the adjacent property. Staff will be going into the building on a daily basis, monitoring the situation. I know we have a competent engineer to take a look at that, and you might consider if there's temporary diversion on the roof that needs to be done or something, using tarpaulins or plastic sheets or something. Yeah, we can take a look at that. It'd probably be hard now with the snow on top of it. But
yes,
yeah.
Exactly. There's things at the proper time.
Yeah.
I do have another question. How will the public know? This is on Veterans Park. Although I'm sure we have thousands of residents watching us here tonight, how will the people who are not watching know that the park is closed?
We've put it out on social media through our. It's gone out via email to all of our media partners. So expect to hear it on the radio and paper sharing that information as well. But yeah, I hope counting on some word of mouth as well. But we're going through all of our traditional media and outreach channels.
Have we erected barriers at the entrances to the park with signage?
Not yet. So that hasn't happened yet, but that will be.
That's in the cards. Thank you very much. Okay. Any other questions for the city administrator on the administrator's report? Hearing none, we'll move on now to a discussion of the Royal Gorge Bridge. And that will be you, I believe.
Yeah, and actually we have a representative from the bridge. Brent Hargrave is here, and ask Brent to come up and speak with council. This is a update on how the bridge finished last year and what their projections are going into this year.
All right. Thank you, City Administrator, Mayor Pro Tem, City Attorney, City Clerk, City Council. Thank you for allowing me to address you tonight on behalf of Royal Gorge Bridge and Park. My name is Brent Hargrave. I am the Chief Operating Officer of Royal Gorge Company of Colorado. And in the past, we would have an annual discussion like this one during a city council meeting pre-COVID, and I'm glad that we can do this again. First off, you may recall that we were supposed to have this discussion about a month ago, but we unfortunately had a medical emergency involving our CEO and had to postpone. Thank you for your patience in allowing us to reschedule. But I would also very much like to thank your first responders who saved Harry's life. Your police officers, in particular, Commander Chase Leonard, along with the other officers present that evening, and your local AMR team gave wonderful and immediate attention to Harry as he was having difficulty breathing. And I'd also like to thank the hospital staff at St. Thomas More, who gave him excellent care once he was taken to their facility and were able to quickly diagnose the issue and get him the care that was required. We are truly grateful for all of their service in this matter. And Harry wishes that he could be here, but due to the medical complications, he can't travel as much as he would like. Now, on to the reason why we are here. I'll try not to take too much of your time and hope to give you the information that you would like. And of course, we'll do a Q&A afterwards as well. If I had to give one sentence to sum up last year, it would be last year was a very good year for the Bridgeman Park, while the industry as a whole had a very interesting year. As you may know, state tourism grew by over 25%. However, 70% of that growth was in the Denver metro area only. Our region did not see that type of growth as Denver did. According to some of our tourism partners in the area that I have spoken with, last year was another soft year for most. Revenue was up in some facets of their business and down in others. Like I said, though, we at Royal Gorge Bridgeman Park had a good year. Overall, revenue was up $913,288 over the previous year, with most of that increase coming from admissions, while our rides and other attractions continued to bring increased revenue and demand to the park. Out of the total revenue, the city received $3,153,503 in total last year, per the terms of our lease agreement. That is an increase in straight profit of 7% year over year. With the unprecedented rising costs in operation, supplies, and wages, we are very pleased with these numbers and are proud to be able to provide the city with this revenue. As you well know, inflation increased by over 7% each year over the previous 2 years. This has taken a hit on many businesses, both locally and nationwide, and we as a company are also dealing with these rising costs. One example is that property insurance, having risen each year for the last 6 years by double-digit percentages, and actually doubling in 2021 and due to wildfires and other natural disasters out of our control and even outside of our local area, which carriers leaving our region altogether, limiting the number of insurance options available to us. This, of course, is just one of the current issues our industry is dealing with, but while these and other increases in costs do create problems for our industry, we at Royal Gorge Company of Colorado take pride in the fact that despite these obstacles, we are still able to be a reliable partner to the city in maintaining healthy revenue numbers and controlling our operational costs while protecting the city's bridge with the utmost care. Last year, we were able to continue to increase wages for our amazing staff that live here, and due to our success, we were able to raise wages again this year, as they are deserving of it. We value this partnership greatly, and we look forward to improving the park for the city and its residences for years to come, with the shared common goal of drawing more people to the area throughout the year for both the city's benefit as well as the benefit of your constituents and their respective businesses within the area. Thank you for your time this evening, and I would like to open this discussion to City Council for any questions that they may have about the previous year or this current year. Thank you.
Any questions from council? First, I would like to, offer our condolences to Harry and give him our best regards and our hope for a speedy recovery.
Thank you. He's doing great.
Councilmember Schmischer.
Yes, thanks so much for being here, and it's great to hear that Harry is doing so well. I do have a number of questions. Many of them are from residents who weren't able to be here this evening, but we're very excited about the possibility of learning more about the bridge's future plans. I heard from several people that in the past there used to be a free day for Fremont County residents, and I was curious if the bridge was planning to bring something like that back.
We have actually been talking about that with our marketing team. We're thinking about doing that in the fall this year. So that's something that it's not finalized, but it is something that we are contemplating.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Thank you. I also know last summer we had discussed, and then I know you had follow-up conversations with Fremont Adventure Recreation about Southgate access. And I believe that they provided you or your team some examples of solar-powered kiosks that could be used at the Southgate. So just wanted to pick up the thread on that and see if Southgate access might become a reality this year.
It's something that we are still talking to FAR about. I met with a member of FAR shortly after our conversation about that, and it's kind of become a little bit of a waiting game. There's been some discussions about trail access and things of that nature, and so we were told by FAR to wait on that, but we're very interested in it.
I think I'm a little bit confused because that wasn't my understanding of where FAR thought that it was left. So it might be, I mean, I think we may have a FAR board member in the audience, but it may also be helpful to just have a conversation with the city and FAR and the bridge again, because I know this is something that's been on our master plan for, oh my goodness, over 8 years now, I think.
Sure.
So just want to make sure that we don't let that one fall by the wayside. And then my last set of questions was I'm curious about the Via Ferrata and the Bridge of Lights and kind of what's been the return on investment for those two. I know that a lot of improvements were done for the Bridge of Lights a lot of improvements were done to the Bridge of Lights this past year. So I'm curious as to if you saw increased ticket sales from that, and I'm also curious about the Via Ferrata, if you've seen that kind of pay for itself yet, or what your projections are with that. Thanks.
Sure. Via Ferrata has been quite successful. It's, I believe, we installed it in 2018, I believe. And we've already begun to see a return on investment. The biggest problem with Via Ferrata is operations costs, but that's just because it's heavily guided. But we love having it. We love giving our guests the opportunity to actually get down into the gorge, into the park. I know Mayor Pro Tem, you did it with me when we first opened it.
I did.
Yeah, and we love having it. We think it's a great attraction. It really actually helps us in our shoulder seasons when other rides are down due to either operational issues, weather issues, or in January when we just put them down altogether. It's something that's still available to the guest. So it's giving other people from Denver, Colorado Springs, and other areas another reason to come to the park. So we love it. It's been great. And then Bridge of Lights, last year was a little ticket sales were a little lower than the previous year, but that's okay. We still are looking to improve Bridge of Lights, expand Bridge of Lights. Those are things that are in our future plans. It's something that we see a lot of growth opportunity in.
Okay, but you don't have hard numbers on either?
Not with me, no, I do not.
Okay.
On that event, no.
Thank you.
But I can get you that information.
That would be really helpful.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Brent, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for sharing that with us. And
Sure.
We certainly wish the park well, and it is to our mutual benefit.
Thank you. And if any of you have any other further questions or just want to meet up and discuss things, any issues, opinions, whatever, Ryan has my contact information, and feel free to reach me on my cell phone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now we're going to move to bid 14-24, the Programmable Logic Controller and Scientific Control and Data Acquisition Replacement to Browns Hill, an amount not to exceed $874,785.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick. Normally you see bids on the consent agenda. This is a very large purchase. It's a very critical purchase, so we thought that we would put it on the discussion agenda. So Travis and Elijah, if needed, can kind of talk through the technical details. We do have a representative of the consulting team online as well to help answer questions. But this is the brains that runs the water treatment plant and our distribution system. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Travis to talk about this bid and the project.
Hello. I thought I'd start off by just talking a little bit about PLC and SCADA systems. PLC stands for Programmable Logic Controller. It manages electromechanical processes. So what it basically does is you have an input that goes into a PLC system. It works its logic, and then it creates an output. That output can be, starting or stopping a pump based on tank level. It could be creating an alarm based on parameters that you've input there. So it really, like Ryan said, is the brains behind the system. SCADA, or the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, is a software application for controlling the industrial process kind of as a whole. It gathers the data in real time, and it's really how we see that data. It gives us the ability to see it through our computer screens. It puts that data in nice illustrations that allow us to kind of interpret that data. So all of our PLCs really need to be a single manufacturer. We have Allen Bradley that already, we have a lot of their equipment in as far as our VFDs, our variable frequency drives goes. And we have a support contract with them that allows us to troubleshoot if any really technical issues arise. For example, last year, our support contract was $5,568. So we really don't want to stack up support contracts using different manufacturers. Browns Hill was the lowest responsible bidder on the project. So in doing some homework, it was actually really nice that two things. One, they provided us with a project list. Of course, maybe not projects this extensive, although some were, of over 100 projects. I mean, this really is their bread and butter of what they do. One of those projects, the other nice thing, was with our local sanitation department. So they're doing a very similar project through them. In a meeting I had with that department, they had nothing but good things to say about Browns Hill. So a little more comfort with going with that company. This project will largely be funded through our remaining ARPA funds. If you can remember back in the budget discussions of 2022, Council kind of directed that the remaining ARPA funds be used for this project. So that's the direction that we went. This project really was born out of a 2021 inventory that we had done through a company called Rockwell. And so what they did was they went through all of the aspects of our PLC and SCADA system, and basically they gave us when all the support for those individual components were going to be sunsetted. So roughly 2/3 of all of our system was going to be non-supported as of last January, which means that if we had an individual component go down, we would not be able to get a replacement for that unless we went on eBay or something like that, something we really would rather not do, as you can imagine. Another portion of this project that we've had a lot of discussions with Elijah and Mr. Hoppert was cybersecurity. So in this day and age, this is a really large topic, and so I just wanted to let the council know that this was a large topic that we talked over, and I think we have a really good product going forward. And that's really kind of the high points of what I have for discussion, and happy to take any questions that council may have.
Anyone on council have any questions? Councilmember Treacy.
Not really any question, just a quick comment. It was helpful to see all the documentation that was included in our packet. Not that I understood every line and every page, but it's still the flow of it, and the descriptors were very clear. So it was just helpful to kind of see what's involved with the complexity and the size of the project.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it really speaks to AE2S, Charles Hoppert, who's online. We got several compliments of how well the bid documents were laid out, so they really did a bang-up job of creating those bid documents in the project manual.
Right, thanks.
Seeing no further questions, I'm open to a motion. This is approval of, to award the bid, and I have Councilmember Worthington.
Yes, I make a motion to approve the bid 1424 to Browns Hill for not to exceed the amount of $874,785.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion passes. Congratulations. I hope you enjoy your new PLCs.
Thanks, everybody. And Travis and his team has been a pleasure to work with, too, so it's been great.
Great.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have introduction and first reading by title only of Ordinance 1, Series of 2024, entitled An Ordinance of the City of Canyon City approving an addendum to the master lease agreement with U.S. Bank Corp., Government Leasing and Financing Incorporated. And Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick. It's almost through the entire first quarter without having an ordinance, so this is the first one of the year. I will hand it over to Finance Director Tammy Nordyke to talk through the master lease agreement and the ordinance.
Before you this evening, you do have an amendment to our master lease agreement. That master lease agreement was initially entered into in 2019. This is now Amendment 7, because we are on Schedule 7. It has been reviewed by legal, the documents, and also the ordinance to make sure that it was following. We had the correct languages in there. So in our 2024 budget, we did anticipate receiving the financing to purchase the vehicles. Initially, we were looking at purchasing 3 vehicles, which included 2 Tahoes and our community service officer vehicle. We were able to fund the community service officer vehicle from our Schedule 6, I think it was, because there's been some savings with upfitting and such. So this amount is actually a reduced amount. In the budget, it called for 200 and I want to say 20,000 as funding, and so we went ahead and just requested the 150,000. We're also looking at doing it over 3 years versus the 5 years.
Okay. Any questions for Councilmember Tracy?
Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem. A couple of questions. I don't think the vehicles were actually specified in our information. Do we have any idea what we're looking at for purchase there?
We are getting 2 Tahoes.
Okay.
So they are for the police department and, sorry, I'll move back.
And those are the Tahoes that have already come before council for approval.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one thing that I couldn't quite remember, just to add on to that, was we buy some vehicles and we put some of them through this lease purchase agreement, as I understand it. How does that usually break out? Is it a certain percentage that end up being in this program, or is it the majority?
We have utilized lease purchase financing for the police department because when we're looking at purchasing 5 vehicles or more a year, we can't necessarily afford to do that year after year. And so by being able to spread it out over 5 years and kind of rolling, it helps us with that. The other departments that we have utilized lease purchase financing through has been our streets department, and that is for the large ticket items, like our tandem dump truck, where a one-time purchase might be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so it is easier for the city to handle having that spread over multiple years. All of the lease purchases are subject to annual appropriations, so they do follow Tabor. So we are good with that as well.
Right. Thanks.
Any other questions? Then I'm open to a motion.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion to adopt on first reading by title only, Ordinance 1, 2024.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye. And with that, we've completed our business for this evening. We do have another regular city council meeting scheduled for April 1st, 2024, here in these chambers. And with that, we're adjourned.
Thank you.